Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back, of course, to the Time Bomb channel. I hope all is good in your part of the world. Today, in for review, we have been lent the latest uber cool dive watch from the Tool Watch company. The brand should be known to channel regulars, as I've owned the Amma Pearl Diver, the Albany Amma Pearl Diver, with a review just up there in a corner. That's the one that featured the spicy case back of the legendary Lady Divers. And the watch itself had more retro charm than Yul Brynner himself. I then did a quick vid on the new release a while back of their Arctic Field Watch, which came with these superb limited edition white dialers. And I'm still sore I couldn't get one of those white dialers because the production photos just showed it as being straight from the fridge, cool, but slightly above my budget. So let's crack the bag here. Full disclosure, as I said before, this is a loaner. So we'll be going back to them. I can't do that, my fingernails not clicking in there. Let's try that one again. Pause. Alright, so plastic's out of the way, and here is our funky felt on the inside. As I said, these are a new release and due out later this summer via Indiegogo. And as you can see here, the pre-order price is $295, saving you a decent amount of money off the full retail price. So yeah, well worth backing this type of project, I think. And also I think that price tag, when you consider what we've got in here with this titanium watch, just the warranty card there, don't think that's titanium. Funky packaging, as I say. I've not seen this type of felt used before. And voila, there is our watch for today. When they first offered me the chance to review this, and when I saw the release photos, this type of photo, I was just looking at it thinking, it struck me how somber and Spartan the design was. No bling, no gimmicks, etc. And here, out of the box, just get that camera to focus again, it is saying exactly the same thing to me. Yeah, muted titanium. Very, very moody indeed. just a quick thought though, and that if you look at these photos, I mean, I know they're just mock-up photos, etc., but it almost looks much darker grey in those photos, and I couldn't see any photos on the website that actually resembled the titanium finish version that you can see here. So I'm just wondering, perhaps in the future, if they consider that option going forward. And I've got some construction guys just outside the window here, so I'm going to pause there. Alright, this could be an interrupted video because I think they're going to be there for a while. But as I was saying, the effect of that muted titanium is just absolutely superb. Brilliant finishing on that. Also notice as well the ridiculous distortion that you're getting off that big thick edge sapphire crystal up top as well. You know, you can almost think the watch almost has a rehaught, but you can't see it because of the distortion from the crystal. The hands as well, super minimalist, I think, and so clear with that juxtaposition against all the hands, the hour markers, etc., over that black abyss of a dial. It is enamel, and it's blacker than black, and I think it's almost blacker than the table. Very impressive indeed. Let me just focus in just a fraction more. So the other thing to remember, that as a sample or a prototype, some aspects of this watch might change as the project goes forward. But just to orient you with the key specs, we are looking at a watch that's 41.5 mils across, and that's without the crown here. It sits then at 48 mils north to south. It's a shade under 13 mils thick, and it then sits on 20 mil lugs. And there's not too much of a taper. There's a fraction of a taper down there. I'm guessing it's down to about 18 by the time we get to the clasp. The lugs themselves, as you can see, are not particularly long. They're sort of fairly stubby, but they do sort of have a very pleasant curve. So you can see that the wrist print that it's going to leave, there's nothing bulbous underneath, so it's going to sit very flush to wrist. I'll throw up some wrist shots here so you can see what it looks like on my wrist and see how flat it actually sits. Also, I think, yeah, the watch itself, I mean, that wrist print is manageable for most people, and it's not diminutive. The screw down crown, I thought I saw on the blurb originally that it was a signed crown. Again, this could be, it's not, because it's a sample. It's 6.5 mils wide, so it's good and grippy, and as you can see, you've got some very pronounced flanges around there. However, as I'm unscrewing here, the one thing that I can feel is that the edges are a little bit sharp. So if you are of the delicate finger disposition, bear that in mind. Yeah, works absolutely fine. Yeah, spot on. Screw that back in there. Yeah, just a little bit of bite. That's it. Done. That movement on the other end of that crown is the Miyota 9039, and it's the true no-date auto that's going to provide you around 42 hours of power reserve. These watches, of course, do come with 300 meters worth of watery goodness, and they are deceptively light in that titanium at only 110 grams. Just touching on that movement for a second, the 9039, it seems to be a real micro-brand stalwart. Everyone from Smiths to Orion to Helson, Baltic, Marlowe watches, they're all using it. Something's got to be prompting that push. And the rotor, well, it's not as noisy actually as the one that I had in my Smiths Everest. The case back is a screw down, as you can see here. Shows you your movement, your sapphire. At the top there, we've got Ref 3. I'm wondering if Ref 3 is the third model for the company. I could be wrong, and hopefully they'll drop me a correction down below to tell me what it actually is. The watch also then comes with the FKM Black Tropic rubbers. Obviously the FKM being that fluoro rubber, which is denser and more robust than your average rubbers. And it remains though then more subtle and soft, and this one looks pretty solid. I've not had many watches on Tropics before, so I'll throw out some shots here of what it actually looks like on wrist for you to see. The H-Link titanium on this one here, obviously you may have seen on the inside, then comes with those double pin quick releases, and yes, it is a butterfly clasp. You can just see there with a subtle signing. Not my favourite, the butterfly clasps, simply due to the fact that with these, I often find it's not always the easiest thing because of the lack of micro adjusts to get these things to fit spot on. But clearly the butterfly does remove the need to have a larger, bulkier clasp at the bottom here. So clearly that's a design preference for the company. I'm wondering though, I mean, yeah, they're a bit Marmite, aren't they? Some people love them, some people aren't so keen. That narrow taper, I think, yeah, I'm going to say that's 20 down to 18 there. The titanium across the whole watch then obviously carries an anti-scratch coating. But yeah, I mean, I'm always aware that any titanium watch is going to eventually carry dings that simply add to the story of your ownership. And I've certainly been seeing more and more watch brands recently offering their steel versions also then in titanium. So clearly the manufacturers are picking up on what you, the watch nutters, are buying. The bezel up top, although it's off center, apologies for that. It's 120 clicker. Yeah, and it sounds very solid. No issues there at all. Let me just pop it back up to the 12. Difficult to see this through the other side of the camera. Lines up very nicely. Also notice as well, while we're talking about the bezel, you see how high it sits up off the main watch body. So you've got that little flange groove running underneath the knurlings there. So it actually enables you to get a far better purchase onto the grip there. The lume, again, is that lovely blue shine from the Super Luminova. Looks very, very solid, and it pops very positively. I'm going to give a little bit of a gripe here, though, and that is that there's no lume at all on the bezel. And I should think the central pip there should at least carry some kind of lume. It should be a prerequisite, in my opinion, when you have a dive-oriented watch. But again, I'm wondering if the production models will differ in the future. Notice, of course, the sliver of lume along that long, thin second hand. It's so much sexier than just a simple dot. It really is. And the other thing, looking at that seconds hand, you'll see, as I say, they've got that long white stripe down the center of it there. It's very, very fine. It seems that the tool watch guys have a real penchant for detailing on the seconds hand, as the Arctic field had those triple flags on the seconds hand, and then the Ammer diver featured sort of, the harpoon feather ending as well. Impressive. If the Abyss Black isn't your colorway, and you want a brighter version, then you could pick the golden bezel and the golden hands for that extra splash of warmth in color. Or alternatively, they do the frostier, icier white dialer, which then has a DLC coated case body. Grab your snowshoes for that one. Personally, I prefer this one. As I say, that black dial on here, I mean, the Mariana Trench would seem like a summer's day compared to this one. It's so damn dark. But I just think with the muted titanium, the white, the silver, etc., it just works perfectly. Yes, I know I've said moody too many times as I've been rambling today, but yeah, that's what it's saying to me. I don't see this watch looking good with your Hawaiian shirt, but I think it's going to look perfect with a black polo neck while you're listening to your jazz or your Blues Brothers suit. Absolutely perfect. Not easy to find newness in the dive watch world, so hats off to Tool Watch Company for bringing us this model, which has got some new design cues and inputs. I think it's going to look great next to my Helm Vanuatu. That's just my view. What about you guys? What's your take on this new model over the Arctic or the Ammer Diver? Which of these do you prefer? And what do you think of the value point? Titanium, Myoda 9039, micro brand for $295 US. Yeah, interesting to hear your thoughts as always. Massive thanks to the guys over at Tool Watch for their generosity in lending this one into the channel. Wishing them every success with the launch of this one. And if you guys do end up buying one, please do drop us comments down below to share your experience of what you think of the watch on wrist when you get it. Thanks as always for your time and your view, guys. And of course, until the next watch vid, this is your host, the Bombardier, signing off. Cheers, guys.